You are listening to Fika with Vicky on United Public Radio, 107.7 and 105.3 from New Orleans.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fika. Our guest today is Santa Claus, which I don't think needs an introduction, though you may call him Saint Nicholas, Father Christmas, Sinterklaas, or Baba Noel, and more. Because Santa Claus is magic, he can be these people, and all these people merged into one, the personification of celebration, feasting, and joy during harsh times. A symbol of generosity without expectation, and one of my favorite stories. I want to thank the Just Christmas store in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada, where Santa is on location today because internet is iffy to the North Pole, for the use of their space. And thank you for all your gifts, Sir Christmas. Welcome to Fika.
Why, hello there, Fika with Vicky. And how about a big ho, 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 Merry Christmas to everybody. And thank you for having me on the show today. I really look forward to this. And can you hear me pretty good?
I can hear you fine.
Fantastic. And I'm coming in nice and clear?
You are very clear, sir.
Fantastic. Yes, you're right. I'm here at the Just Christmas store in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So as you can see behind me, what a great setting, and checking up on the elves today. So let's get into this. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, the first thing I wanted to ask is, we've discussed before, you really enjoy spending time at the Just Christmas store because you get to meet people all over the world. And unfortunately, when you go to their homes, they're usually sleeping, so you don't get to visit very much.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the people you've met from different countries?
Yes, that's one of the wonderful things about being down here is getting to meet people from all over the world. Because like you had said, Santa Claus is a worldwide thing now, and I get to meet people. That's one of the great things down here, meeting people from countries from all over the world. Yeah, exactly. From Japan to Iran to England, you name it. I've met just about somebody
from Australia and Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico, like Guatemala, even from Indonesia. The Koreas. It's been fun, and it's been great seeing the different reactions. But one of the great things is I'm actually learning a lot of languages. So, and I'm learning what the other terms for Santa are. Now, I knew a lot of them already, but it was really cool to learn different, you know what I mean? The different languages of these, that some of them I didn't know.
Because you've lived a lot of centuries. You've lived a long time.
That's right.
So you can't remember all of the details that pop up. But your image has been changing over all that time, depending on the location that your story is being told.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and another thing that we've talked about is that your inspiration for artists centuries back to today, especially little people. You inspire a lot of people for artwork. Do you have do you have any samples we can see? Or
yes, I actually did bring some with me. So a couple of weeks ago, I got a really nice picture that a little girl, I think she was 6 years old, that drew for me, and I tell you, it warmed my heart. I'm actually going to see if I can pick it up here, all right, and see if I can stay on the thing with you here, and tell me if you can see this. I'm going to hold it up.
Yep, we can see it very nicely.
Yeah, a very nice picture drawn. Isn't that wonderful?
For those who can't see, it is a portrait of Santa with some landscaping around it.
Yeah, that's right. And I had another one here, and for the heck of me, I can't see where it is now, but that's okay. It was a Santa Claus that was made, and that was another little girl that made that for me. So if I find it here in a bit, I'll show it. So
It was more of a multimedia kind of thing.
that's right. That's right.
So you've inspired people for a long time. How does it make you feel? I know you said that warmed your heart, but there have been stories written about you and illustrations drawn. How does all that make you feel?
Well, I get a little flattered sometimes. So you saw that lovely picture of Santa. Now this Santa's been on a little bit of a diet, it's been wonderful, and it's more just to see the joy on the kids' faces when they hand this to you, and I have a nice conversation with them. Actually, that one that I got. That one there was the first one of the year, and it almost brought a tear to Santa's eye. So I would say it did. So, and that would be the same for all the kids that bring pictures to me. So it's been wonderful. You may continue, Miss Vicky.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, sir.
So,
yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you about today and your experiences there now is that a lot of people accuse Santa of commercialism and kids getting greedy it's true. It's true. I believe that the season is as commercial as you choose to make it. Nobody is forcing any individual to be commercial in the least. It is not the season. It is the people involved. But that is just my opinion. And sometimes I'm thinking I might get on the naughty list due to my opinions. But
hey, you know what happens if you go on Santa's naughty list?
We get a piece of coal. Literally.
And Santa actually has genuine coal. So you know that.
So, and we'll get more into that and the whole naughty nice list thing in a little while. But I think people need to know, what are kids today asking for Christmas? The most interesting, the most common, whatever comes to your mind. What do they want?
Yeah. So that great question, by the way. Of course, we were talking about going back in time with Santa, and we got to remember, and I get this all. So I'll see on a weekend 300 to 400 kids while I'm here at the Just Christmas store on the weekend, because I come down here on the weekends because I like to check up on what all the kids are asking for. Getting their letters is great, but it's nice to see them in person to find out. So what a great place down here, because like I said, it ties into the whole world, the world coming. It's kind of nice because the world comes to Santa here. And I get to speak to, 300-400 kids on a weekend. And I love some of the things they're asking for. Now, I said, back in the day, Santa had it really easy because he didn't have a whole lot of selection to go through. Santa carved a lot of his toys, so he would make those things out of wood, tops, animals, stuff like that. But now, today, and don't forget, there was also a whole lot less kids back in that day. So it was a lot easier to remember all the names. Because people say, well, why don't you know, or kids will say, why don't you know my name? And I'll go, because say we'll go 500 years ago, there may have only been 20 million of you. Now you've got 100 million of you to remember. A little more for Santa to remember. But yes, the toys now. So one of the big gifts, of course, that's always asked, especially from the boys and the girls, is Lego. Lego has been one of the big ones. Of course, we get Barbie dolls. Those are still popular. And another one, I'll give you some of the most unique ones. I had a little girl. She was 6 years old a couple weekends ago. And she came up and she said, I want a real ice cream truck. An ice cream truck. And
that's ambition.
Like, that's like the greatest thing ever. Like the greatest gift to ask for ever. An ice cream truck. So that was great. And another one I had was a little boy, and I remember talking to Mr. Claus about this, and he said, I want garbage. I'm like, garbage? He goes, yeah, I want garbage to play in. And I thought, what? But he was laughing the whole time. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, we get all kinds of different requests. Of course, Phones are a big one, and all the newfangled phones and electronics.
But you
And
got a pizza cutter. Someone asked for a
Pizza
pizza
cutter,
cutter.
yeah, that was another interesting one. And then, of course, I had to ask if you like pizza or not. And it's funny because these are coming from younger kids. And then, of course, I get a lot of pets. A lot of people ask for a lot of kids will ask for puppies or cats and stuff like that. And that's it. I always tell people that's a harder one. Living animals and stuff are hard ones for Santa to bring. Mainly
Well,
because they're a lot of work to look after that, but they don't really go in the sack very well. So,
no,
right?
I don't think so. And that
Yeah,
has to have a parental assistance with the
that's
caring
right.
for, and
And
therefore they have to be.
I do have to say to the adults, I don't bring winning lottery tickets, and I don't bring Porsches. So, because I've got that a lot.
Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of
Sure.
comments here to begin with.
Yeah.
Author
Hello, everybody.
Janice J. Richardson says hi.
Oh, hi, Janice. How are you? Janice is a helper elf. Hello, Janice.
Brian, now you've already said you can't bring lottery. You can't name.
Hey, would that
numbers.
be Brian Grainer?
Griner, yes.
Griner. Yes.
You've already said you can't tell people what the winning lottery numbers are,
Right.
or bring a Porsche. So
let
you
me
may
guess.
not be good at this, but Brian is asking. He says, "Hi Santa, it's been many decades since we've spoken, but I've been a good boy for some definitions of the word good. My wish is for all indie authors to have lots of sales of their books in 2024.
That's a very good one. And I hope, because I know Brian is a author himself, so I wish you all the best in that too. But yes, that's a great ask there.
So maybe
Brian.
you can't make that happen, but you could tell people that you read indie books and they're a wonderful route to take.
This is true. You're very smart, Miss Vicky.
Don't ask Brian. Okay. And Susan.
Thank you
B.
for
Marcus,
your question, Brian.
and Susan B. Marcus, also author,
Oh,
asked,
hello, Susan.
what's the average age of your kid visitors?
The average age is usually between 5 and 10. It's in that span. That's about the average. But this year I've been getting a lot of. It's been wonderful. A lot of little babies too. So under 2 years old. I've had a bunch that were 8-9 months, which was great because I was their first Santa that they visited, and it's interesting the reaction because sometimes you'll get a Santa or a child that will scream their head off. And then I had a little kid last week. He was 9 months old and he saw Santa. It was his first time seeing Santa, and he giggled and he giggled and he wouldn't stop giggling the whole time. And I'll tell you, I wanted to take him home and make him an elf. Like, he was amazing. So the response is that, but yeah, like Susan had asked, it's anywhere between 5 and 10. So,
and she also would like to know, what is the greatest wish Santa has?
The greatest wish that Santa has, that's been given from a child?
No, just what is your wish for the world, out of the world? What do you wish for?
Well, of course, everybody wishes for peace and happiness. And of course, everybody just to love each other. So that's what Santa truly wants. So.
Okay. So we're going to go backwards in time when we talk about your background and all the artists and things that have made interpretations.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to come on screen, they can, but you have to tell them that you're live.
Yes.
Around the world right now.
Just to let you know. Oh, just a sec. No, just a minute. We're live on a radio show all around the world. Now, you can be on, but I got to tell you, just this woman's going to come in and come in right here. You can see.
Merry Christmas.
There we go.
Oh,
Here we go.
Merry Christmas. Move over. We can't
There we
quite
go.
see
Can you
her.
see?
The
Oh,
other
there
way.
we go.
There we
There
are.
we go.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, what's your name?
Marietta,
Marietta. And where are you from, Marietta?
Toronto.
Toronto. There we go. So she stopped in here to say hello to Santa. Yeah.
Never too late to say hello to Santa. And thank you for coming each year and pressing cheers to all the children in the world.
You're very welcome.
Thank
That
you
was
for
very
that.
kind.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah.
You have a Merry Holidays too.
Likewise.
So we'll
Okay,
keep talking and you can take your
we're
picture.
going
Yeah.
to go. We're
Yeah.
going to go backwards in time,
Yeah.
starting with what is presently one of your most controversial moments:
Right.
the Rudolph the Red-Nosed
The nose
Reindeer.
reindeer. Right.
At the
Okay.
shiny nose.
Had a
We got
shiny
singers
nose.
here.
Right. We can't sing it. It's still copywritten. I checked
Yeah,
it
that's
out.
right. We're actually not allowed to sing the song because it's copyright still.
So the original story was written by
Who was it? Yeah, you
by
tell me.
Robert L. May
Right.
during the Depression. He was
Yes,
asked
yes.
by the store.
That was in the 1930s or 1920s and 30s.
Oh no, that was during the Depression. So it was exactly 1939.
1939. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Just
And he
before World War
worked as an advertiser.
Right. Right.
And his company Montgomery Ward in Chicago,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to see, decided that they should put out their own children's book. Now, I haven't been able to read that book, so I can't tell you what exactly the context of that book was.
Right. Right.
But Mr. May always saw himself as a bit of an outcast, an underdog, disappointed in himself for being
I
an
think
ad
I know where
writer.
you're going with this.
When he wanted,
Right.
disappointed in himself for being an ad writer when he really wanted to write the great North American novel. And
Right.
and so, you're in the right place, you're in the right spot, the right
Yeah.
time, and you can make it, if you're just it's being in the right spot at the right time with the right talent. So if you're an underdog or under reindeer with a red nose, you will have your moment.
Right. Right.
So this is the general thing. I don't know how Santa behaved during that time.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, Johnny Marks knew about the story and he began penning this song, which we cannot sing because it is still copywritten until like 2034 or something. So Johnny Marks,
a time limit on that, or is it still under the time limit? Is that
it's
what?
2034 before it becomes public.
Oh, right. Okay.
So another 10
Fika
years.
knows all the answers.
No, she does not. And she particularly does not after the internet does not know all the answers. And she only has so much time. So in 1939, he started penning this song. He married actually into the family and he asked Gene Autry to write it. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, we can all sing it in our heads.
Exactly.
If you're at home, you can sing it out loud. Came into existence and became the second most popular Christmas song behind White Christmas.
Yeah.
So then we get to 1964 and the Rankin and Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that led to so many other holiday specials, which sort of defined Santa Claus for our generation and many to come. Now, was a
unique style that was getting really popular of animation too, as well. So
right. So you are aware of what they did, and you're impressed with the work.
Yeah.
Now in the song, it is only the reindeer not allowing Rudolph to join in their games, which is very
yes.
mean.
Those reindeer were kind of nasty, weren't they? So
right. But when we get to the Bass and Rankin version, and how they wrote it, Santa sort of did a little, Rudolph, this is awful. We can't use you. Get out. And he didn't really.
He was a bit of a bully, is what you're saying.
Yes. So the question is Santa bully friendly? And two, how do you feel about that portrayal? And what do you have to say to people now? Should they be watching it and
Well, I
feeling
think
for
they
Rudolph?
should be watching it more to see what Santa probably shouldn't do. It's actually a good lesson but in the end, there is a bit of a lesson to it. But it is a good lesson to see that's maybe the way Santa shouldn't act. Don't you think?
No, yes. So you're saying that was an interpretation of you that you
I
do not
think
stand
so.
behind.
Yes, you gotta remember it was a different time too. So
Exactly. What
yeah,
I'm thinking is that Rudolph was written during the 1930s, and
that's
by
right.
1965, people had gone through a depression and a
Yeah,
war, and you had to be tough to make it. So this would have been the children that grew up
that's
during
right.
that time, and they were understanding how hard that toughness was, and
Exactly.
putting
Yeah.
their interpretation to it that maybe we shouldn't be there. So once again, do things like that. So once again, an example of Santa changing with the times.
Exactly. And
But once again, you do not care for bullying. You don't
no,
think bullying is a
not at
good
all.
thing,
No.
and you would like to say about Mr. May as an author that he may have not written the great American novel as he saw it written, but he is remembered so greatly for the story of someone who lived
Exactly.
their
Yeah.
dreams.
Exactly. No,
Also,
all well said, Miss Vic. Now I got to tell you though, we might have. I have a woman here with a small. Susan was asking about the average age of I have a little baby here that wants to come and see me. So
and her mom's okay with
yeah, I'll ask her mom when she comes in. So hello there. Just give me a second and we'll continue. What's your name?
My name's Odette.
Odette. So we're doing a live radio show all around the world. If you want to get a picture, is it okay? So we can, okay. So if you want me to, hi there. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn the camera around. Here we go. I don't know if you can
Hi,
see.
Dad. Hi, little one.
Hey, what's the little one's name?
Maximus.
Maximus.
Maximus. Such a big
Awesome.
name for such a little one.
No, that's
It's
perfect.
great.
You want to sit on Santa's lap? You want to sit and get a picture real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to sit here.
And we'll see
Yeah.
what Maximus's reaction
That's
is.
right. Hello, everybody. This is Maximus. And can you see? Hello.
Hi, baby.
Hi there. We're doing pretty good. Can you see pretty good there,
Yep. We can
Fika?
see. Yep.
Fantastic. So we're just getting a picture here with Maximus. And how old is Maximus?
4 months.
4 months. There we go. Wow. Eh? And we're doing really good. So, because remember what I said, sometimes it's like this and sometimes it's screaming. So
Baby. I'm going soon.
there we go. So
Okay,
thank you,
talk-
everybody.
Thank you.
There we go. You're very welcome. Oh, here you go. Excellent. You're very welcome. Oh, just watch my coat there. Okay. There we're back.
Okay, so
Okay, thank you.
Maximus has been
Yeah.
brave and he has fielded the Santa
Exactly.
situation. But normally you
Exactly.
also have a staff there with bells that keep the
Exactly.
smaller
Yeah,
ones
I do have
happy
bells.
as well.
I do have the staff with the bells here. Actually, you know what? Let's do that real quick. I don't know if I can turn it here and show you the staff. Is it too bright? But here's the,
No. I can see. Just there.
there we go. So
So the use of those bells keep many babies.
exactly. Yeah.
Over
I actually
the day.
use those bells when they get a little that sort of focuses them. But there we go. So let's
You
continue.
get focused babies.
That's right. Let's continue our story. So we've talked about the 1930s and
Yes.
let's
how-
head back in time. Yeah.
Okay, so the next
You
person we're
hear the
going to
shit.
look at, the next person, are you closer to your phone? Because I'm getting a little there.
There we go.
The next person we're going to discuss is Thomas Nast. And
Right.
Thomas Nast was an illustrator
Yes.
during come back. In 1863.
Yes.
started-
And guess what was happening in the 1863? The Civil War in the U.S. And this plays a big part in this.
Well, yes, because he was a political illustrator.
That's right.
cartoonist. He was a man of very strong opinions and convictions and wasn't afraid to say what he was thinking. But on the other hand, he had a great deal of respect for family. He had a family of his own and the more wholesome, joyful things. So he would take a picture and play Santa in a camp, in an army camp, to encourage people to send letters to their families and loved ones out there and make them feel like they were more a part of things.
Exactly. Yeah.
As an illustrator of Santa Claus, he is accredited with the following things: the naughty and nice list,
Yes.
that children wrote letters, that Santa came down the chimney, that he had a toy workshop and he was a toy creator, and that he lived in the North Pole, which at the time people were very excited about exploration and it was mysterious. So it would make
They were
sense.
looking for me, actually.
Yes, they were looking for you the whole time. So we're going to address some of the other things because this is why you cannot believe the internet. This was in
You can't believe the internet.
You cannot believe the internet.
Who told you that?
This is in 1863.
The internet.
And this article says that he created the reindeer myth. But what we're going to see is,
That's not
the
true.
reindeer could be in an earlier time the reindeer was brought forward.
Yeah.
The idea of Santa coming down the chimney came from Saint Nicholas allegedly throwing coins and things and money
there was a couple of different stories. The original story was that he would throw coins out the window, and it got changed to where he would drop them down a chimney, and they would get the children, they would fall into the socks getting dried over the fireplace, and that's where that came from. Yes.
So, which showed up in Santa Claus is coming to town, that particular theory. So it shows us that there's a lot of interpretation and imagination going on with the story of Santa, knowing the times. Brian says, Santa, you've been around for centuries and successfully interacted with many cultures. Do you have any words of wisdom on how people can get along better? That's my closing, Brian. No.
Well, then maybe we should leave that for the closing.
That's a big question.
We'll come back to that, Brian. But of course, there's lots of things people could do. But the big thing is just to love one another. It's the song, right? Who is it? Who was that guy that sang that song? I think it was the Beatles.
Love. Was it the Beatles?
One another right now. Oh, sorry.
Okay. I'm singing a copyrighted song, Santa. I'm gonna have to
sing a line of it. I can sing a line of it. Santa has a few things he can get away with.
Okay, and there is an important aspect of Thomas Nast, which we've also been led astray with. Now, for many, many years, people have said that Santa Claus coat is red because of the Coca-Cola Corporation. And this is simply
not really true. Yeah.
Because do you want to field this one, Santa, or do you want me?
Yes. Well, so as Fika with Vicky was saying, is that the red coat actually permeated from a long time ago. When we go back to St. Nicholas, of course, his red coat had crosses on it. But with this, so the red coat that we see today actually came out of, and I believe the date was 1848.
No, it had to be after 1863, my dear Santa.
Oh, is it? Oh, 18. Or sorry, 18. It might have been 1858. It's somewhere in there. Anyway, when they went to print, so his depiction of Santa, which is one of the first ones with him as a jolly, round little elf kind of guy he didn't have. See, that was where we come back to. He didn't have the big bag. He actually was wearing a Union soldier's knapsack on the back, and he had some political stuff, and he had the big
yes, but about the color, Santa.
But the color, yes. So
with age he rambles.
When he first drew this, he actually had a brown suit. But when they went to print it, it came out red. And when the people that printed the magazine loved it so much, they said, let's just stick with the red. And that's why it was red. But initially, it was brown.
And Father Christmas,
yes,
Father Christmas was generally in green.
Yeah, in green.
So a lot of this is when we start to merge the ideas of Europe within Santa. These things that will get together. A Santa, like I said, can be all these people individually and all these people merged into one.
And of course, this all happened in New York City. That's where this started from, and that's sort of going back. Like, if we're going to go back, you were saying about Father Christmas and going back in time, because just prior to that, in the 16 and 1700s.
Okay, well, we're not back to the 1600s yet.
Okay,
we're still in the 1800s, because
another
very important thing, another important thing happened to your image, and that is that the man who really brought about the reindeer in North America, Clement Clark Moore, penned "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," or "A Visit by St. Nicholas," as he called it.
Am I allowed to say a few lines of that?
Yes. Yeah, you can say a quote. You can't. You can't read the actual. You could read the book. It's public domain, but most of the hard copy books are still belonging to.
I'll just do the first couple lines. How about that?
Okay.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." There, how about that?
That is lovely. So what?
Like,
and here is. It's even a controversy as to whether he wrote
exactly.
There is, no matter where you look for information, there is a trail and a rabbit hole to go down, because there is so much. So what Mr. Moore did was, according to, but it makes sense. So, and I looked a lot of places and I combined.
Yes.
So according to Fika with Vicky, he which is an entertainment, not a news source. So we're leaving it there. He was inspired by his Dutch handyman, because it was the Dutch that originally settled New York.
Exactly. It was called New Amsterdam back then. That's right.
So he took his stories of St. Nicholas. Washington Irving had written a satirical book called The History of New York under the name of Knickerbocker, and he had mentioned him in there as well. And then we bring in some British background, which is what creates the jolly old elf, and brings in the idea of merriment and things like that, because coming from certain parts of Europe, St. Nicholas, that was a more biblical Christian background, and Father Christmas was more in charge of
having fun.
He was like, tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. Well, he was full of mirth, and he was full of, and it was much more oriented towards the adults.
Yes.
At that point in time, and you've got to imagine, this is a time without electricity, and you don't know what the winter's going to bring. There's no refrigeration, no corner store to pop off to. So you're gonna party.
Before we go, hun.
Yes.
This I can't say. Before we go, speaking with Vicky, I do have to mention something going back to the "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" story, and I just wanted to mention this, that one of the things is that I learned is that, did you know that is one of the few poems, stories that children will actually go out of their way to learn, and almost every child at a young age can recite most of that, and they say it's one of the few poems or stories, short stories, that a young child, it's one of the first ones they learn how to memorize it.
Because it tells the story. It tells the story that we here know today.
Yeah, exactly. We had to mention that. So let's
Yeah,
continue.
no. And for those, yeah, Santa and I have a thing going on the side, but don't tell Mrs. Claus. You
What's
have to
that?
be more careful.
I know. Santa slips sometimes.
He
You know what?
does
The
that a
problem
lot.
is, the problem is because I haven't had any of these lovely cookies. So yeah. So
Yes,
we're gonna.
I have given my offerings to Santa early. So
Okay.
it was Clement Clark Moore who brought in the reindeer and all those lovely things, which
Yeah.
is going to bring us to the naughty or nice list, which I
Oh
do
yeah.
not believe exists, or it should exist. It is not mentioned in the night before Christmas. In the case of St. Nicholas, it is to encourage. Nice means generosity and giving to those in need. It does not mean going to bed on time and doing your homework and listening to whatever your adult of significance is telling you to do.
You're sounding like a little bit of a rebel there, Miss Vicky.
I am when it comes to the naughty and nice list. I think it has been used. The power of the naughty nice list has been used in nefarious ways over.
And you know as well, Fika, that this Santa actually. So when I talk to kids and stuff down here, to me, all kids are on the nice list. There is no naughty children.
Because they're all trying their hardest. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people don't listen to, like, adults make sure that if they don't like a vegetable, it's not on a plate.
That's right.
But if there's a vegetable on the plate,
but
child
Santa
has to
does
eat
like
it.
all his vegetables. So
yeah, I heard a rumor about Brussels sprouts, but I won't bring that up.
that's right.
And Brussels sprouts are very important to Christmas Santa.
That's right. Okay. Hey, give me 1 second there, Fika with Vicky. We'll keep. Yeah. Hello there. How are you? Are you guys doing good? Good. We're doing a live radio show all around the world right now. So if you want to talk to Santa after, I'll be here after the show. All right. So, okay. Thank you. Okay, you can return now.
Okay,
Hello.
yes, no, you need to talk to the people. So if you have to go, I still have Brian up here. Okay, we'll go back to that. So we're in the 1800s now, and things have changed from Christmas past a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, because there was a party on, which I understand completely. Right. There was the very St. Nicholas biblical background coming up, though St. Nicholas was the patron saint of, which is whether he existed or not, but was the patron saint of sailors and children and drunkards and fools.
I do love that he was the patron saint of sailors. That's pretty awesome. So
that is. Yep. So in the 1800s, it started to become a more family oriented thing instead of the two sides. These two extremely different sides. And that was part of the Victorian era. That was part of the that was part of Charles Dickens had a lot to do.
It was also a part of, and we might get into a bit of this, a part of coming off of when Christmas was actually banned in a lot of countries.
Santa Claus was an outlaw.
That's right.
No, he didn't. In the 1600s, there was a bit of there was a large amount of time that, as far as I'm concerned, that Christmas was outlawed in parts of the States, in the UK, a lot of European countries, the Netherlands, because for various reasons. One was the partying.
Yeah.
They didn't think it
Nobody was getting their chores done.
And they outlawed the preparation of holiday food. So exactly. So there were soldiers that if you were preparing holiday food, they would come in and confiscate it.
Exactly.
And it is during this time, I believe, that Sinterklaas was created to
Yeah.
get past the whole Saint Nicholas thing.
Yep, you're right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, we believe that we're right. I'm not.
Yeah. And again, a lot of this stuff, because, like I say, the further the further back we go in time with Santa Claus, it gets a little bit, I guess you'd say, murkier and murkier on the facts, because we got to remember those facts started to disappear the further we go back. We didn't have as much, written stuff down, so a lot of interpretation comes out of this.
And when we say that, we weren't there.
No,
I mean, no one alive now was there. Not even, we can say that you were there in a way, but you weren't Santa Claus. You were Father Christmas. Yes, you were Father Christmas, or you were Saint Nicholas. You hadn't become you yet.
Exactly.
So
that is an amalgamation of all.
So people found a way to work around this so that they could still have their customs. So St. Nicholas Day was off limits.
Yeah.
They would move their Christmas giving until Christmas Eve.
That's right.
There's a lot of things.
One of the things we found out too is that a lot of people rebelled to this. So instead of bringing it on the streets, they would just have it in their homes.
Yes, and it was allowed. It was allowed in Europe to just have it in your homes. I'm not sure. I mean, certain parts of Europe, I'm not sure if it was allowed in all of them.
No.
And so it depended on how strict the Puritans were in your area.
Yeah. It's a reason why they called it the Dark Ages.
That wasn't.
There was no Santa, so it was the Dark Ages. I take the credit for that, everybody.
Okay. So just keep it down, because you blonk people in my ear when you do that. Not that I would tell Santa what to do. So this is why. Okay, we're going backwards, Santa.
Yes. Okay.
We're going backwards. And so this is why in the 18th century, it started to become more family oriented. It started to become more civilized, and a little less biblical.
Yes. And a lot of different traditions started to all come together to kind of what Christmas is today.
And Santa, I want to watch that movie on Christmas Day. I saw it. You can rent it for 99 cents. The Man Who Created Christmas. Charles Dickens wrote The Christmas Carol, which I would like to add as a side story for all the indie writers out there. I think I have done this before, but it can't be said enough. No one wanted to publish The Christmas Carol. He needed cash. He took it upon himself. Not that indie writers are only indie writers, because no one wants to publish them, but just in this point, example. No, but he took it upon himself to publish that book, and look where it is today. This is an indie writer who's gone way up there.
It's probably, I would say, one of the most redone television movies probably in history,
because it is in public domain.
That's right.
It is in public domain, and people can make whatever versions. But the version from 1951, and in the book, the illustrations in the book done by, oh my goodness, the illustrations are so beautiful. I don't want to miss his name, and I can't, amazingly enough, I can't remember. It's John. Okay, I'm gonna look while I'm talking.
John Jingleheimer Smith, was it him?
I don't think that's public domain, so go crazy. So the illustrations show the Ghost of Christmas present,
right,
in long green robes with like the fur on it, and
he was also barefoot, and usually wasn't wearing a shirt, which I found interesting. So
okay, these are weird facts for you to bring up, Santa.
I know. Santa,
because he's still a bit of a wild dude. Father Christmas is a bit of a wild dude, and he was the party or whatever. But this is when, and it comes into the idea of giving and opening your heart to your fellow man, and things like that the Christmas Carol has brought.
That's what Mr. Scrooge had to learn in that.
Right.
whatever.
And once again, it was his background within the story that created the person that he was.
Exactly.
He wasn't, that doesn't excuse it, but we're just saying that we are all a creation somewhat like Santa by our circumstances and the times. So that was it. So we go back, and because before that it was outlawed. We're simplifying here, people. It was outlawed. We're moving down to the 45-minute.
Well, that's okay.
So
keep going on. I'm trying to get a cookie out of my.
It was outlawed. You can't eat while you're doing the show.
Okay.
No, you will be talking with your mouth full, or you will get crumbs in your beard. Santa.
I know he's a bad Santa.
Okay, so before the whole thing started in the 1600s, it was building up to that. There was disagreements. People were getting upset by behavior, and so.
Well, also they were taking like 12 days off to do this, and
well, you're supposed to take 12 days off. You go from so they would go. Okay, once again, in their defense.
Yeah.
I'm going to defend them.
Hey, Santa has no problem. You want to take 12 days? I'm all for that. So.
Well, don't you take 12 days off after Christmas? Because you must be really tired.
Yes, I am.
So okay. So starting with, usually they would consider the Yule,
yes,
which is also winter solstice in a lot of situations. From then until January 6th, they would take this time because they were very dark times. Once again, no electricity, no food. You've got this winter. It's dark. It would be a way. It would be for mental health to have a time where you're with everybody. People get together, you feast, you save your food for that moment, and you have this big blowout, because who knows what the rest of the winter is going to bring for you. So this is what was done. So there were several people. What's that?
I said all great points. I said all great points there, Miss Fika with Vicky.
Okay, thank you, Santa. Right. So we've been talking about from that section. Did you want to talk about Saint Nicholas a little bit, about his background and how he came to be?
Yeah, we can talk. We're going back to Saint Nicholas, so I guess we could say, he is the first father of Christmas. And for those that don't know, a few facts about Saint Nicholas: he was born in, and I believe now, there again, it's all, how would you say?
Yeah, no. You weren't there.
But we're gonna go with the date of 280 AD, and he was born in what is now considered Turkey. I think it was actually part of northern Greece, maybe at the time.
Yes, that's
that right there.
That's what I've heard.
Yes, but anyway, it's now considered Turkey, and one of the things I found out, and doing some research about the first Santa Claus, I guess you could say, Saint Nick, is that he was one of the youngest bishops that was ever, I guess, became a bishop. And it's a great story, because the story is that the one that ran the church there at the time was getting fed up because they weren't getting enough bishops. So he told the guy that ran the church, the next church or whatever that was there, he said, the next person that walks in the door, you make them a bishop. And this 9-year-old kid walked in, and his name was Nicholas, and he was crowned as the boy bishop. And that's where it began. And of course, he had done, there was like 3 feats that he done. But
the main story that we get, the Christmas Saint Nicholas,
but he became like the three, like, and I think it's where a lot of the things of the 3 wise men also came, because he had 3 sort of things he did. He saved some boys, he saved some people by giving them money, and there was another sort of miracle that he performed.
Because you have to do 3 feats to be
That's
a
right.
saint, and that even is under question because the church sort of fluffed him off the
That's right.
saint list, saying that people didn't have to feel obligated to celebrate St. Nicholas Day anymore, but they
Yes,
could
yes,
if they wanted to, and apparently St. George as well. So,
yes.
like I
One of
said,
the
this is
interesting
all over the place.
Yes, I know. So, but Santa's.
I know. But
But
Santa's
we
all
were
over the place.
saying about how it was in Turkey, and it's interesting now that in Turkey, Santa Claus, which is called a Baba Noel or Noel Baba, over in that area, is like there's so many people that celebrate it over and it's actually a Muslim country now, but it's still celebrated, and I think that's wonderful because it's across. Religion, and that's one of the great things with Santa is that it's not just a secular one. We think of it as a Christian kind of thing, and it is, but it's also everything else. So, and it all
It
starts from
spans.
Satan.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
Saint Nicholas was the first, I think, inspiration for the Santa Claus story.
Right, and of course, as it spread across Europe, the stories grew.
If you go, so then we have to go back to Father Christmas
Yes,
and the overseer of the mirth and merriment.
yes,
This is where it gets really tangled.
with other.
With well, the whole is Santa pagan, and there is and I do not want to say because there's Odin and the white horse and all of these
Well, we can
possibilities.
say though it is. There's elements of that in there as well. It's all
Yeah,
together.
no. Don't you tell me what I cannot say and cannot say, Mr.
Are you
Santa
not
Claus.
listening to Santa, Miss Fika, with
I'm not,
Vicky?
because I'm rebelling against the naughty and nice list,
You are.
which I think is arbitrary.
You
Listen,
remember, Santa's got a
listen,
big
the
cold.
point is, when you're talking about facts, you
Yeah.
need to have a direct line to something with facts and
Right. You're
not
exactly.
emotions, not possibilities. So I personally would say that stems from, I would think, I wouldn't say because I'm not
Yeah.
saying. So, okay, say for example, I think that all of this stems from the Holly King.
Yes.
And when you bring in the
yes.
idea of elves and things like that, you're getting into a very pagany world, and the idea that the party is wishing, the winter away
Yes.
for
Yeah.
the newness and the spring to come in. And you can say that, well, it looks like the Green Man, and you can say with the beard and everything, and you can say many things, but I have no proof of that. I may find it someday.
Well, I'm gonna give up any secrets.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it in the research here. And the same with Odin does have Yule connections. So we are also combining Yule with Christmas, which is all combined in you, Santa Claus. The point is all of these elements. We cannot
And we got to remember too, at that time there was a lot of turmoil going on in and around. Remember, we had in those times the Romans were invading a lot of places, and instead
they
of
brought Saint Nicholas to Britain.
Yeah, and they didn't, when they were going into, like, let's say England or Germany or all these other places, and instead of trying to conquer all the people, they tried to amalgamate some of their, some of their beliefs and stuff to basically to quell them from having to fight them, because don't forget, they were fighting a war.
They never had to fight them. That was their choice. They could have left them alone.
Oh, they could have, yeah. But I'm just saying.
How elegant people say what we mushed over. Susan said, Nicholas's reputation for generosity and kindness gave rise to legends of miracles he performed for the poor and unhappy.
Yeah,
that is exactly. But we've got to take it away from all that. Okay, so 6 more minutes left. and there's a couple of things I want to do. So
Sure.
we have your question in mind, Brian. I'm just going to close off the comments, or I guess people can still read, but I can't.
Yeah.
We can't see them. And Brian, this is your answer
Yes.
that
Thank you, Brian.
we have worked out for the question. The Jerry Springer moment is what we're looking here. Santa Claus has belonged to storytellers and artists for centuries, not being owned by any spirituality, religion, country, or corporation. His tale has changed with the times and social order, always finding a place, even if it's hidden. In a world where we seem determined to point out our differences, he has created a sameness. So whether you're a believer or not, pour that milk and offer those cookies to Santa and all the world. Generosity, kindness, wishes, and dreams, as simple as it sounds, can heal a lot. So perhaps if we sanitize in cases of physical healing, we should sanitize in cases of hidden wounds. My favorite writing on the matter is from Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus. And right, and remains the most reprinted editorial in English to this day, which says a lot. You may tear apart the baby's rattle and see what makes the noise inside, which is a bit of what we've been doing today, to whatever ends. But I'll let Santa read the rest.
Okay. Are you ready for this? Okay, so we're going to read a little bit from Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus, right?
Right.
Okay, there we go. And I think I'm starting in the right spot now. Santa, this is one that Santa didn't memorize by heart, but I got a really good.
It's okay, Santa. Your
Okay.
memory's going. We get that.
Yeah, that's right. There is a veil covering the unseen world, which not the strongest man, nor even the united strength of all the strongest men who ever lived could tear apart. Only faith, fancy, poetry, love, romance can push aside that certain and view a picture the supernatural beauty and glory beyond. Is it real? Ah, Virginia, in all this world is nothing.
There is.
There is nothing else more real. Yes, to Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
Yes. And to Brian's question, what would you say? Keep on writing? Keep on creating?
Keep writing, keep doing what you're doing. And it brings happiness to others, but it also brings happiness to you. And that's just as important as well.
So anyway. Happiness, love, giving.
Exactly. And that's everything that Santa is all about, no matter where you are around the world.
So thank you. Thank you, Santa. Thank anybody who's been waiting to talk to you. And
I'm going to give you before we go, how about I give you a nice big ho, 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 Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a wonderful holiday and save a turkey for me. Leg for me.
Oh, I was going to say a whole turkey.
I'm going to eat my cookies and drink some milk.
Eat one cookie. Okay. Bye, Santa. See you in a few weeks.
It's like seeing you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so happy that Santa came to visit us. And I will see you next week when author Sarah Archer will be rejoining us for a discussion on Louisa May Alcott. Until then, may your coffee be hot and your stories and holidays sweet. Thanks for listening, everyone.